have to wonder. I have blackout moments or I lapses where I forget things, and I think, is this part of my disease? How many brain cells did I kill?
Right.
Is this dementia? What is this?
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the #1 mental health and addiction podcast, the Hopeaholics. I am your girl, Natalie Eva Marie, and these are my boys.
I'm Chad.
Hi, I'm Shane.
Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow us on our socials and wherever you get your podcasts.
Got a new episode dropping every Monday and Thursday. Please come check it out.
This episode is brought to you by the Infinity Group. You guys, if you or a loved one is suffering, please call us today. The number is right here on the screen. We are here for you 24/7. Now, let's get into the episode.
Jennifer, welcome to the Hopeaholics podcast,
Yeah.
I think.
Never a dull moment around here.
Where am I supposed to look?
At Natalie's beautiful face.
Okay.
You look inside, Jennifer. You look inside.
You don't want to... when
You don't want to, you don't
what
want to turn that way.
What you don't... Regardless of whether Shane asks you a question or not, answer to Natalie.
Yeah.
Just
'cause
pretend like
your
she's
camera's
talking.
right here.
Okay.
Yeah. Your camera's right behind Natalie.
Okay.
I'm going to do my best to make you look at me, though.
She doesn't even want to.
No, I know.
She doesn't.
Like,
Don't distract her.
All right. That's fine.
let's get this party
Let's
started,
go.
man.
Yes.
Let's go. Jennifer,
Yes,
very
sir.
nice to... really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And I just want to say 5 years, congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Right?
Congratulations.
It's huge. And
on
she's
that.
been with us 5 years plus. Oh, no, the whole 5 years. And she's been with the Hopeaholics the
Since
entire...
day one.
Since day one.
She was the.
But you have to elaborate. What do you mean been with us for the whole 5 years?
I did rehab here at Hope.
Oh my goodness. Amazing.
And my son
Wow.
did rehab
Yeah.
here while I was here.
Wow.
Yes.
And the son's got 3 years, and she's just taken her 5.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. When's your sobriety date?
My sobriety date is May 31st, 2020.
Wow.
Nice.
Woohoo.
And it was back on Christmas Eve that I decided I need to be here for my 5-year anniversary.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
That just felt like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I have this man specifically to thank. We had an incident when I was here where Chad kind of calmed me down, and we sat in the garden and we talked about things and we prayed together. And I thought, I have a completely wrong impression of him because I had no idea. I didn't know who he was when he came to me and he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I'm going to leave. I'm scared." And
yeah. Which is normal.
Well, there was a guy that was going berserk and he was going to hurt people.
And he was a big guy. Really big guy. It
and-
was a little scary.
And
Not gonna lie.
I was the snitch that, told, the staff. And then I thought, oh my gosh, he must know it was me. I wasn't anywhere near there, but I was on the second floor and I was, a fly on the wall. And I thought, I know he saw me. He's coming to get me. And I made a beeline to the front door, and it was outside that I had encountered Chad. And like I said, we went and sat in the Marquez garden, and he really soothed me and said it's going to be okay. And I said, can we pray for this boy? Because obviously he's hurting too.
Sure.
He's hurting probably far more than I am. So it seemed appropriate, and it seemed like the right thing to do. And when I came to Hope by the Sea, I had no idea what I was going to expect. Andre picked me up at the airport and drove like a bat out of hell, 100 miles an hour. And I remember saying to him,
Oh, Andre. She calling
chill.
you out, boy.
I
you know what? It was all safe, though. and it was on the heels of the George Floyd riots.
Okay.
And I thought, I wonder if I'm safe as a single white woman standing here at LAX waiting for a ride from someone that I don't know.
Right.
And we had an instant rapport. And I remember asking, can we stop at Walgreens so that I can buy some shampoo? And he said, yes, you can. And he let me go into Walgreens. And as I was in Walgreens, I thought, he wouldn't know if I bought a beer. He wouldn't know if I bought a fifth of vodka. He must really trust me. And when he brought me to the Anzar house, and of course they went through all of my stuff,
Yep.
I thought, it's not about trust.
Right.
He knew you were getting searched.
That's right, and that was awesome. That was great. But he said, "Here you go." He opened my door and said, "You can get out now." And I went, "I'm not going in there by myself." He walked in with me, and he introduced me to the gentleman that was working there, and he said, "You're going to be okay." And that was lovely. And yes, I was okay.
Yeah.
It was rocky, and I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go with my story. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
you're doing
You're
amazing.
doing
And I just
great.
want to say something that's amazing that you caught Chad on that day.
I think
Is it this guy right here, though?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's talking
cool.
about me.
Unbelievable. So
Yes.
here's the thing.
he wasn't there that day.
No, he's here all the time, but he doesn't meander out a lot. You know what I mean? So God was really working that day in a weird kind of cosmic way because, yeah, good for you. You got exactly what you needed that day, and you see where it starts. It starts at the top.
And I just want to, I want to, people don't know where we're at right now, but we are actually in the Hope by the Sea, PHP IOP building. And this studio actually used to be my office. Actually, when you were here, this studio was my office.
Shared office.
Right below behind me is a window that we blacked out that people sign now, but right below that window is the garden that she's talking about,
True
which
that.
is the Marquez Garden. And Andre is the son of Tony Marquez, who tragically passed away on Labor Day, 17 or 18.
Wow.
He was my vice president of business development for Hope by the Sea for many years, a friend of mine for 20 plus years. And it's a God thing, man.
Yeah.
Because Shane's right. I'm not always out
No.
there. And God put me out there at the right time, at the right place.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are.
Yeah, bro.
5 years later.
Crazy.
And a lot has happened in the 5 years. I'm sure not, in our lives. I
Right.
didn't even know Natalie, even Marie 5 years ago, or Lewis or Emily. They were still in high school.
Horrifying. They're still.
That
Lewis-
is fucking hilarious.
literally-
Lewis
Right, they
wasn't.
were.
Lewis
No
wasn't.
driver's
But
license, still in high school.
Emily for sure was in high school. 5
Yeah,
years
100%. And Natalie was just like a picture on her wall.
ago. Natalie was actually in the WWE
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
I was a fan of that diva.
Oh wow, really?
This
were?
diva.
This
yes,
diva
of
right here?
course. Absolutely.
I didn't
Oh,
even know
amazing.
that TV show existed until.
but
Shane
your hair
told me.
was red back
Yes.
then. Yes.
We got the red doll right here.
Yeah, we got the. Oh.
No, but nobody cares about that. What is that doing on our
I don't
desk?
know. I don't know why it's like in the front.
Bro, it's special.
It could be in
It's
the back.
special.
It is special.
So Shane,
You guys are all going to get one too. I got to order them for you guys. I just need pictures. What pictures do you want?
Natalie has a real bobblehead that was made by
Professionally?
a toy manufacturer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Shane paid $500.
No, what? Did you not?
To have-
Okay.
$68.
still
Oh
way
yeah,
too
this
much.
looks like a
Six-
This
60
looks
bucks.
like a $68 one.
$60.
I think that's a little too much, but it's okay.
Like, bro,
I like the outfit.
he wants to make
That's
one
the
of
deal.
us.
Hey, I'm taking that to Palm Springs with me.
No, you're
Yeah,
not.
I am. I'm going to have my own little thing down.
Wow,
Just sit
I
there.
know.
I'm going to bobble
So
it all day long.
Jennifer,
Yeah, welcome.
And you're in the Hopeaholics t-shirt.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
a lot
man.
has definitely happened in the span of you first walking into these doors. But I want to get into, you mentioned your son. Your son and you were in treatment at the same time, or he came after you?
We had a slight overlap
Okay.
of about 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
I came to Hope by the Sea against my will.
Okay.
My sister was behind that, and I believe I did days 1 through 25 to pacify her.
Sure.
And I did days 26 through 105
Good for you.
for myself.
Good for
Wow,
you.
That's awesome.
And I
Oh,
was
that gives me
I was
chills.
afraid to go home. I was afraid that the same people, places, and things were going to suck me back under, and I couldn't have that happen. And so I I lost my train of thought. Imagine that.
No, it's easy. We'll get you right back
Well,
on track.
I want.
Yeah, I got questions too.
Well,
Sorry,
I
go
want to
ahead.
point out though
Yes.
that to people that are struggling in the beginning, or for the fact that people who are here for somebody else, days 1 through 25,
Nothing wrong with that.
nothing wrong with
No.
that.
Nope.
No.
Because at day 26, you realized you needed it for yourself.
Right.
Well, I remember saying, I'll go for 30 days. I'll stay for 30 days. And at day 25, I thought, I am not ready to leave. I'll stay for 60 days. And at day 55, I said, that's not enough. What my experience led me to believe is that there were several other people here that had been to rehab 1, 2,
Right.
3, 45 different times. And they came across like they were professional at
Sure.
it. And they knew everything to do, except they didn't, because if they did, they wouldn't be here with me.
Correct.
No.
And so I somehow grasped on to the thought process that if I stay long enough, maybe I can be a successful unicorn and be a one and done.
Smart.
Wow. There you go.
Smart.
Huge. Way to think.
That's
Those
the
are
magic.
unicorns, man.
I mean, that's the magic right there.
Yeah.
If you can hold on just a little bit,
Wow.
maybe you can
And-
too be the one.
And so going back to my son, while he was monitoring my progress and I was calling him every couple of days and letting him know how I was doing. And I had developed COVID and I was at the COVID house when he called and he was crying and he was so upset. And he said, I can't do this, Mom. I can't do this anymore. And I had spoken to Chad, and I said, my son's on the cusp of needing to come here. And he said, call the front desk. Let's find out. And so I was able to, connect my son with the front desk, and they, verified his insurance and everything. And then my son called, and he said, I need a plane ticket, Mom. And I didn't have the cash on me to buy it. And I asked my house mother, and I said, is there a way that maybe Hope by the Sea can help us out? And she said, well, let me give somebody a call. And she called, and she explained my situation. And the young lady on the other end of the line said, I'm sorry, there's nothing that we can do. That happened up here in this complex. And apparently Chad's door was open. And Chad overheard part of the conversation because they called back and they said, Chad wants to know where we're booking a flight out of.
There you go.
Well, it took me a minute, but when Chad was on vacation in Italy with his family, I came into a little extra money and I reimbursed him for my son's airfare
wow.
because that's the right thing to do. He did me a favor and he said, you don't owe me. And I said, oh, but I do.
That's awesome.
And I'm probably going to pay for somebody else who will need and will use it as an excuse to not come to rehab because I had all sorts of excuses myself.
Oh, yeah.
And I was very blessed that my family kind of eliminated every excuse that I could come up with. My sister had my dog for 105 days. And after I got out of rehab, she said, you're not going back to where you were. People, places, and things. And she had me in her home.
Wow.
And she said to me, I think you should be on Naltrexone. And I thought, what are you trying to do? Manipulate me here? I just went through all of this. But you know what? She was letting me stay with her. And I felt that it was important enough that that's a small request for her to make of me. So of course I did. And that was the right thing to do. But while I was at the COVID house, I had a coworker when I worked at an oil and gas company in Texas give me a call, and he said, hey, why don't you get your own branch? And I said, why don't you get your own branch? And he said, I did. and our company needs you. And you're brighter and smarter than I ever was. Please come back to us. So everything lined right up. And I had quit that job for my ex-husband. And the company took me back, and they reinstated me back, with all of the seniority that I had under my belt. And I took a position in Savannah, Georgia, and there were no people, places, and things for me to deal with there. It was a clean slate. But I did make a mistake, and the mistake that I made had to do with an individual that I had actually met in rehab. And I believe is the term 13th.
Yeah, you got it. 13th step. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was his 13th step, I believe. And we didn't have a romantic relationship, but we did have an emotional relationship. And I brought him to Georgia, and we resided in the same household. There wasn't anything going on between us. But I didn't realize he never got over his addiction. And part of the plan was that we were both striving to live a sober life.
Right.
And that wasn't in the cards for that gentleman. And as a result, when he OD'd at my kitchen table, I, called 911, and I found drugs in his room, and I gave them to the police when they came. And he was a convicted felon, and there were consequences for him being out of state, and he was very upset that I called to have his life saved.
Right.
And they came and they resuscitated him, and then he refused further medical treatment. And as a result of that, the police left, the fire department left, and then, of course, the EMTs walked out, and I said, isn't anybody taking him with them? No, you called for life-saving services. You did not call for criminal activity. And the next day was when he threatened to kill me. And I went and filed the appropriate reports, and I went to a women's shelter with my dog, and I was out of my home for about 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And I went back and I called the police, and I had a sheriff escort, and they said, I thought you moved out. I thought you were moving on. I thought you were never coming back to this place. And I said, this is my house.
Right.
He doesn't belong here. He was supposed to have been served. And they said, well, unfortunately, we don't have a copy of the paperwork. And I just happened to have 3 copies of the paperwork in my purse. And they evicted him. And the next day, he broke into my home. And someone let me know. And he was arrested, and he was incarcerated. And we had a court proceeding, and he said, she's crazy, she has mental illness, but she's a nice person, so let her have whatever she wants. I don't know what that meant, but they said, well, what would you like? And I said, I'd like him to live a sober life. That's what he was supposed to be doing all along. But I don't believe that was ever in his plan. And I spoke with his sister, and she said, he died in our hearts several years ago because we can't trust him. And his sister wrote a letter on my behalf to the judge to make sure that they incarcerated him for as long as they could.
Wow.
I struggle with this a little bit. I'm kind of over it now, but I struggled with it because he appeared to be a good person. He needed a chance. And second chances are supposed to be available to everybody.
Sure.
And his family had given up on him, and I didn't give up on him. But I had to. And I had to for my own sanity, and in retrospect, I'm lucky that he didn't slip me drugs
Sure.
in our house. You know, he could have put anything in my beverage, he could have put anything in my food.
Killed you. All the things.
Wow. Pretty crazy story, actually.
And you walked through all of that
Yeah,
sober.
that's what's up.
That's
That's
what's
what's
up.
up.
That is what's up.
Nothing else matters.
Yep.
Nothing matters.
Doing
Because you know what, like, we go through some shit in sobriety.
Yeah.
People think that for a second that we get sober and everything's
like a pink
Better?
cloud.
like like it's better. It's not
No.
better. It's different. Now we get to face life on life's terms. You got to face some life. How far into recovery was this for you? What was this in the
This was within the first 2 years.
first 2 years?
Yeah.
I mean, first year's rough.
Yeah, it is. So you took someone home, didn't work out. I took someone home. Damn, she stuck around for like 18 years though.
She's still
You know,
she's still
she
there.
never left, man. What's going on? I thought she'd come over for a night or two.
But that stuff that you just talked about, that's heavy enough for someone to go out.
100%.
Also,
Yeah,
within-
that's what I
within a
was
year or
thinking.
two.
Good
Yeah.
for
So
you.
the fact that you did the right
Exactly.
next indicated step, which
Yeah.
for a lot of people is very, very difficult to actually go and do the proper paperwork and do all of those.
Especially
like,
alone.
well, yeah, and it's just it's a drag. It
Yeah.
sucks, especially when you think that you're doing one thing and obviously this other individual, he's sick. You know, he's not well. And yes, everybody does deserve second, third, multiple chances. But when it comes to the addict and alcoholic, you run your course, especially with people that you love. Family, obviously, his had run theirs.
Yeah.
And that's why his sister wrote that letter for you on your behalf. But it just goes to show, like, if you're doing the right indicated step to the best of your ability, because obviously, you know, progress is not perfection in this program.
That's right.
God shows up. And yes, you are lucky that you didn't relapse over it or didn't get in your head and not move and make the right decisions of going to file that report or saving that individual's life or doing all of those things, having those documents in your purse so that
Yeah.
you were able to be like, look, I got 3. But it also goes to show being your own advocate in all areas, whether it's your addiction getting into treatment or medical, going to the doctor, just like, you know, having your own shit together so that way you can provide those documents or whatever it may be to the people that you need to, which you obviously did. But it just goes to show like the strength that you were able to persevere and walk through and not falter. Not saying that it wasn't difficult, not saying that it wasn't a hard journey for you to do, but you're here today.
I am.
Yeah.
You know what I did after that happened? I took a lesson and learned how to shoot a gun.
There
Good
you go.
for you. There we go.
And
Motivated.
I
Red-blooded
actually
American.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. My kind of gal. My kind of gal.
yeah, I hung the paper up on his bedroom door, and I thought, "Come back, motherfucker!
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Come back!"
Jennifer's in the house.
Well, it's true.
I couldn't.
Good
I
for you.
couldn't- I couldn't buy a gun because I don't believe that. I don't believe it was the responsible time.
Sure.
I was a little too emotional.
Yeah.
But at least I learned how to use it. And every shot was a kill shot.
There you go.
You know, I want to go back
you
to the
go.
first few weeks
Wait.
you got out.
Yeah, well,
Okay, go.
Hang
Go
on.
ahead, that's fine.
Let's
Go
talk
ahead.
about when she went in to the person that went and took a gun and learned how to use it because you moved from victim
Yes.
The killer.
No.
to survivor. we don't
Let's go to warrior.
warrior. I love warrior.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Shane. Now you can ask your question. I just think that's because if you
No, that
guys
is-
if
that's
you
a
guys
step.
knew her
Yeah.
the day that I in
Yeah.
the
Oh,
parking
right.
lot,
I was a victim all
you were a
over.
victim.
Wow.
Sure.
you know, and that is a place that we have to get out of. It's hard. Our disease really tries to keep us in that mode because that's how it keeps us sick.
Yeah, it's true. I agree completely. That's a tough step too, doing that, especially having someone threatening you and attacking you. Like I've been through that.
Yeah,
There's-
you have, huh?
I'm
There's
still
somebody
going-
in jail for that.
They're out, bro.
Oh, they're out?
And they're in a mental hospital. You know what I'm saying? They could just show up at my door any fucking minute. Like I got my
Guns
protection.
strategically placed?
Yeah, bro. One's right by my bed. I got the fingerprint on it. I've timed myself. It's like 4 seconds. Yeah, let's go. Anyways, I want to say something. You got out of rehab. I was about to say you got out of jail.
No, I've never been to jail.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
So you got out of rehab. You went to your sister's house. God bless your sister.
Yeah, shout out to your sister.
Man, Hugh, what's her name?
Michelle.
Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle,
Michelle, you're a rock star.
lifesaver. Without
Yeah.
family, we're fucked. Because then we have the job of making outside family, and that's a difficult process. Because then it's up to us to find good people and surround ourselves with good people, which we have to do when we move, you know? You listened to your sister, and she said, take this for your problem. What was the drug called she asked you to take?
Naloxone.
Naloxone?
Yeah. What was your drug of choice?
Alcohol.
Yeah. It helps with the
Craving.
alcohol
Yeah.
cravings.
So,
And supposedly
yeah.
it makes it a little bit harder for you to get drunk.
Oh, so the
If
effect.
you do
Yeah,
drink.
yeah, if you do drink. Just
Yeah,
that she
I
was
mean,
open to
'cause
listening to your sister.
naloxone is an opioid, it's
Blocker.
blocker.
Yeah.
It sits on the receptors, but they found that it works in the cravings of alcohol.
Well, that's awesome that your sister did the research. She asked you to do something. You were open enough.
It's one that I am okay with. Like I'm
Yeah.
not a Suboxone maintenance guy,
Yeah.
but naloxone.
Good for you.
Well, I
Naltrexone?
I didn't get a high off of
No, you don't.
but I know that with Suboxone you do.
Yes, you do.
You can tell when people are on it too.
Yeah. There's a little bit. I'm not saying that I'm against it 110% because that's not me either. I just think that for somebody who's young in the game and has abstinence is
Right.
Shane, abstinence is
The way to go.
the way to go.
Or at least to give it a go, because I know for
Yeah,
me,
give it a go. I agree.
I'm
Give it a
going to
go.
be the one that's going to ask for Suboxone just because I know that I can get one over. You know? So it's like every person is going to have their own individual
I've never tried it.
Case. So that's why it's like we're no one to say you should or shouldn't do or take this or that, because every individual is going to be very, very different. But
I will say that you guys shouldn't do it the way Shane does it because most likely you'll fail.
Yeah.
Hey, don't do it my way. My way is no bueno.
No.
It's Shane's way.
So your sister lets you back. What's the relationship like with your sister? Is she married? Does she have children?
Yes, she is married for over 30 years.
Well, good
Oh,
for
wow.
you. Good for her.
And she has 4 grown children.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And before I came to Hope by the Sea, they held an intervention the day that I decided to get behind the wheel of the car. And I shouldn't have. And my sister and her husband and their youngest child made the 3-hour drive north to confront me.
Wow.
And my sister said, "Let me see your phone." And she called here.
Wow.
And she said, "Now you better talk." And I'm not kidding.
Wow.
My sister is a judge,
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Oh, damn.
and she was making sure that I don't have to appear before a judge.
Totally.
Wow. Yankee.
She
Doodle
kept
day.
me from any kind of criminal
Totally.
activity,
Wow.
breaking any laws. At the time, though, she was in an election, and I thought, "You're getting rid of me because I'm your
yeah.
source
Yeah,
of
yeah.
shame, and
Right.
you don't want me to
Totally.
compromise your election." That had nothing
No.
to do with it.
She was saving your life.
She was saving my life. And before we started, I told you that I had been in South Africa.
Yeah.
I went with my sister. She is the president of the National Women Judges Association, and they had an international meeting. So there were 1,000 women judges at this conference. And just to let you know, my sister and I are doing really well.
Awesome.
She allowed me to be her guest, and I said, I'll go to South Africa with you if we can go on a safari. And, of course, we did go on a 5-day bougie safari.
Bougie is the kind of safari I want to go on.
too.
Like
I'm all about it.
I only want to do
Yeah.
the bougie
Yeah.
safari.
Yes.
What about you, Shane?
That's the only way to do it, brothers. No, you're dead if you don't. You're dead.
oh, yeah,
you
you
will
can't,
not
yeah.
survive if you don't go. If you'll be. Oh, bro, I went bougie and I still lost 40 pounds.
Cooper's
vomiting.
Girlfriend is in Africa right now on a
Really?
missionary trip, and I believe today she's on a safari.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah.
Go see some tigers,
Yeah.
lions, elephants. What else is monkeys?
The chase. They want to see the chase. The wildebeest. There's a lot
Yeah.
of wildebeest.
What I want to see is the lion.
Chase. The chase. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I saw.
wanna
I
see
saw one chase.
You did?
I was there for 10 days. I saw one chase. It lasted about 12 seconds.
And then the lion.
I
got
think it was a rabbit or something little.
Oh, that's
and the lion or the whatever was chasing it.
Now, I saw the remnants of a baby giraffe that was killed by some lionesses.
Sure.
But by the time we got there, the wildebeests, or
Yeah.
the hyenas,
Oh, okay.
the
yeah.
hyena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hyenas were
On
going
it.
to town.
Yeah.
And it was the grossest thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's part of the circle of life.
Sure.
But for heaven's sake, you could hear the flesh
Yep.
tearing.
Oh,
you could hear the bones snapping.
It's crazy, huh?
It was gross.
It's crazy
Did
to
you
me
eat the
that they-
wildebeest?
I'm
Did
sorry?
you eat a wildebeest?
I did not. I did not eat any wild game. I'm a wimp like that.
Yeah.
I know, good for you.
On Instagram, Nature is Metal. If you watch anything like that, they do amazing with capturing real life, like the circle of life.
Yeah.
It can make you cry or scare you. It's crazy. What's out there?
Carly's eating goat every.
Interesting.
Yeah, goat's all right.
Cabrito.
Goat's nice.
Yeah, I've never had goat.
I've never had goat.
Me
My
neither.
brother got sick out
She
there.
said it was
2 days. He was vomiting. He
Cooper said she said
Sorry,
it was gross.
Go. Yeah, it is gross. But I'm not. I was going to tell a story.
How's your
About pooping.
Yeah,
son? How's he doing?
3 years.
Well, he's got 3 years, but his father passed away last October, and I've been really nervous about that because my son, former military, was a contractor. He was contracting when he came here to Hope by the Sea.
Now, when you say contracting, what do you mean?
He did naval intel.
That's what I was going to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was
That's
doing
nice.
he was doing intel
Yeah.
when he came here. His father got sick. He quit his job. He moved across country so that he could help take care of his father. And last October his father passed, and he's been in a deep, dark circle of depression.
Wow. Well, I want to tell you something. Maybe now is the time he needs to come back for a refresher. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, if he's down like that, that's a real traumatic event. There's the steps. You could do the steps around to death. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. But now is the time to really love him. I'm there for him. You got my number. If you don't, I'll give it to you. And if he needs to talk, we're available.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're available.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. That's a heavy, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well-
Good for your son to be able to travel across the country and do that for his father. I mean,
Because look at if he wasn't sober
Well,
at the
that's what
time,
I'm
he wouldn't
saying,
be there
right?
for those last moments.
yeah.
You know, I mean, I couldn't imagine, but that's what I see looking from like the outside looking in. But for him to be, the last thing he needs to do is be alone and isolated.
Yeah. I agree.
It's the worst thing.
Let me take us back a ways to young Jennifer, that picked up her first drink. Tell us about that.
She was 13 years old and
Wow.
had no business having some Boone's Farm tickle.
Boone's
Oh,
Farm.
wow.
Yeah.
Strawberry Hill was
Where
mine.
where were you born?
I'm from Michigan.
Okay.
Yes. And I was thinking about this just yesterday as I was trying to figure out what am I going to talk about while I'm here with you all.
Yeah.
And my sister and I, back in the day, belonged to a musical theater group. And we had an overnight that was unattended by any adults. And that was when I had my first drink. And I drank a half a bottle. And I was hungover for about 3 days, and we had a family vacation. So being in the car, going to Chicago, it was terrible, terrible. I did go to parties on weekends, probably religiously from the age of 15 through college. I had my first blackout when I was 19 years old. And I continued to black out every time.
Wow.
After that?
After that.
Wow.
I'd find out that I, had drunk texts. And
Sure.
said all sorts of stupid shit. And it was a new adventure every morning figuring out what I had said to whoever it was.
Blackouts are amazing, man.
No,
it's just
they're
one of the
horrible.
most
I was a blackout,
incredible.
too.
If they could be safe, they'd be a blast. Like if you
They're
could be
so
in a
not
romper
safe, it's
room,
craziness.
you could be in a romper room with protection. You just go about your business. I've had one.
Well, the thing is that if the people that you're drunk texting, drunk calling with in person knew that you were in a blackout and all of the things that you're saying were actually gibberish and meaningless, then it would be fine.
Yeah, but
the problem is people get really hurt.
Really hurt.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause we say some bad stuff.
Well, and they always say that there's like some of truth that comes from it, but I don't know. About
I don't
you.
know about
Come
the
on.
I don't know
think
about
that's
the
true.
blackouts
I don't either.
because half the time
I do not know. I recall
when
what I've
when
said.
an individual in my life has blacked out, not me, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh,
talk about my wife for a second. She's blacked out around me before, and I'm not sure she will ever wants me talking about this, but she says some shit she doesn't even know she's talking to me.
Correct.
But like I've been in this industry and around shit so long that I know she's in a blackout.
No, I know.
The first
It's
time I think it
scary.
hurt my
Of
feelings.
course.
The second time I was like, oh, she's blacked out.
But it's crazy. That's why I think alcohol is like the wildest substance and poison that we legally like glamorize and have it so readily available because
It's socially acceptable.
completely, and it's like, and it's marketed and pushed because obviously it's money. It makes money. It makes the government money, all the things. But that's what's so scary about it is that you are taking something in and consuming, and it can shut literally your body down.
And part of your brain off.
Literally off, but you're still functioning like a robot and have no idea. That's horrible.
People getting in cars, driving in a blackout. Like how did I get
that was me.
here?
Yes, that's how I would wake up. Like,
I mean,
how did I get here? Where am
know,
I? Where's my keys?
I've worked in treatment for a long,
Horrifying.
just recently.
And who are you?
Did I drive you too? Dude, right? That's horrifying.
Yes.
Scary. That's why it's like it's a mirror. That's why I think also in like the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, NA, CA, whichever 12-step program you go, you always hear like the miracle and all these things. And initially when you first walk in, it's like, yeah, whatever. But I think it's so much more than like wait until the miracle happens. It's like, no, you're a miracle walking in these doors because the fact that none of us are dead.
that we're alive.
Yeah.
That we woke up
Yeah.
today.
Because of the crazy shit that we've put ourselves in positions and places and people that we should never have ever like walked out of is a miracle. It's insane.
I'm in agreement with you, and I have to wonder. I have blackout moments or I lapses where I forget things, and I think, is this part of my disease? How many brain cells did I kill?
Right?
Is this dementia? Is this what is this?
I mean, alcohol is
This
poison.
brain fog? Yes.
Alcohol is actually poison for our body.
Yeah.
And that's what fucks us up. So 19, you had your first blackout.
I did.
And you said you blacked out.
For the next 20 years. Really?
No, well, I
For
did.
how long?
I stopped drinking for a while. I wasn't involved in a program.
Okay, yeah.
I still had a handle on control of it. It was
Okay.
before addiction had its control on
Before you
me.
became the stage 4 alcoholic
Yes.
that it talks about in the big book, the one that drinks in the morning, and
Nips all day.
I'm not sure you're allowed to say that
Nip.
word anymore.
You can
Nip?
nip. You take a nip.
That's I can't say
A
that
nip.
word.
No,
I feel like I've not even
Not
heard
funny.
of
Hang on
it.
a second.
Not funny. I thought it was funny. Lewis, did you see this?
Can I have a nip of liquor?
I don't think I've ever
That's
heard
not a
that
thing.
usage.
Nah, if that's a Canadian thing
Yeah.
or something, maybe.
I've heard
but
it. It's a Midwest
Okay.
A nip of liquor, also shown as a shot or a mini bottle.
Interesting.
All right.
I'm gonna start using it.
Serving
Can I have a
distilled
nip of coffee?
Usually around 1.7 ounces. It's a common size found in travel kits.
I just,
packs, and
you know,
sometimes used for
it
promotional
could be a
purposes.
derogatory term for
Nip?
Asian people.
No, that's,
Yes,
come
it
on.
can.
Yes, it can.
Kid it?
So that's
Oh,
why we
really?
don't say that
wow.
anymore.
No, I believe,
I never
I
thought-
believe that's nipper.
What?
Nipper.
We're gonna get fucking.
No,
canceled.
we're not.
Mean.
I'm just saying where I come from. If you want to be derogatory, it's nipper.
I've never even heard that.
Yeah,
either.
nip is the real word though.
I have a question.
got it.
Was alcoholism in your family, like parents? It seems that your sister. Did she have a problem prior to her on her trajectory? No.
No, she didn't, but it's rampant on both sides of
Okay.
the family.
Ooh.
It's amazing in retrospect.
Yeah.
When I look at cousins, aunts, and
Sure.
uncles, whoever, I'm not throwing
Yep,
anybody
of
under
course.
the bus, but I think, I should have recognized. 'cause
You know what I like to do? I like to throw everybody under the bus. It don't matter. The whole fucking family. I'll tell you why. Everyone needs the 12 steps. Everyone needs to know that there's a better way if you follow certain rules and regulations or you take the opinion of certain things.
Says,
Yeah, but also
says Shane.
too-
Says Shane
Yeah.
Earn.
Exactly. Work on.
I work like 6 of them. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
exactly. But no, I think this is where the program, I believe, has it right. It's attraction rather than promotion, meaning your family, your siblings, your mom, your dad, your friends, or who's close to you, they're gonna see a change in you, where you don't have to tell anybody what to do because who am I? It's if you see a change in the way my behavior or mannerisms or just how I am day to day as opposed to the person that I was prior to doing this 12-step or treatment or whatever program that you're doing, then that's when the door opens, and then that's when you can say, well, this is what I do. When you tell someone, or at least when someone tells me what to do because I'm acting wrong, I'm like, fuck you.
yeah,
You
you're
know,
not the
like
boss
you're not
of
the
me.
boss of me. Who the fuck are you? You're not God. Sit your ass down. So it's like that's where I do think the program is beautiful too, is because it clearly states attraction rather than promotion. Because you see something. When I asked my sponsor to sponsor me, I was attracted to what she had. I wanted everything she had because I had none of it.
Well, interestingly enough, I did not go through the 12-step process. When I was here at Hope by the Sea, I went to Frank's writing class.
Oh, she went to Frank's group.
Yeah.
And so did my son.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Frank's basically actually has a program here at Hope by the Sea. He still does some of the classes. We kind of combine the 12 steps with Frank's stuff now. We used to really separate it. We had the 12-step track, we had Frank's track, and then we had the Christian track.
That's right.
After COVID, maybe during COVID, after COVID, because you were here during COVID. Can we talk about that? The fact that you were here during COVID? Like, that shit was not normal.
It was totally not normal.
So did you hear her say she was in the COVID house
Yeah.
because she got COVID?
Everybody
Because
was all fucked up in there.
that's what they made. That's what they made us do. Like if somebody got COVID, we had to put them at a house where everybody who had COVID was at this one house, and then we couldn't even like really take care of them because we had to like drop food off at the door and stuff. It was not cool.
Yeah.
Not cool. But you survive. You're a survivor.
Yeah.
Of Hope by the Sea COVID.
During my time at the COVID house, the house mother got well enough, she got to go back to her house.
Because the house
And-
mom had COVID too.
So it ended up everybody got better except for one of the drivers that worked for Hope by the
Sure.
Sea and myself.
Okay.
We were the last two at the COVID house. I felt terrible leaving him there because I was better
Yeah.
and he wasn't.
See you later, dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we did Zoom classes.
Sure.
And I remember one day I felt so green and awful. I didn't turn my camera on for Ozzy's class.
Oh, Ozzy.
And Ozzy said, "Turn your camera on now."
Ooh, Ozzy.
And I said, "Ozzy, I feel green." And she said, "Then go back to bed."
Ooh, I like it.
So I did.
Yeah.
But that's going back to my
Yeah.
son. Going back to my son, we were on Zoom classes. I was in the recovery pad, and because I was allowed out in public, I was not allowed back in this building with the other clients that did not have the privilege to be out in public.
Okay.
And so Zoom calls were going on, and they at one point had some of the classes that they had, I guess, the seasoned people like me
Sure.
with the newbies.
Okay.
And so my son and I were in a couple of classes
Wow.
together.
Beautiful.
Well, it got kind of
I'm
weird.
sure.
And I thought, I don't know that I want to speak freely right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
And I remember my son, I saw him on the camera, and he got up out of his chair and left.
Yeah.
And I thought, did he just walk out of here forever? What's going on over there? And there was texting going on between the men's recovery pad and our recovery pad, and I called the house. My son had had back surgery, and the couch was making his back hurt.
Yeah, you're
So he went and sat on a kitchen chair
Sure.
and was not on camera. So no, he didn't leave. But we did have that possibility that we could see each other on Zoom, and they granted me the opportunity. While I wasn't allowed in this building, I was allowed in the parking lot.
Sure.
And so I got to see my son a couple of times while he was here in recovery from the parking lot.
Yeah.
And we would walk laps around the building like I did when I was here, when I was in classes here. And that was a big thing. And I remember the one house father, Tommy.
Yeah.
He would sit by the gate.
You knew Tommy, right?
He'd be going, "Go, Jen, go! You can do it!" And he said, "You've had such a transformation because you were a very broken person
Yeah.
when you got here. And look at you haul ass around the building today."
Totally.
That's crazy to think about. The whole COVID thing was so gnarly, and like that they had, the world so scared, and we were like, we didn't know what we were allowed to do or not allowed to do, and I didn't care because like I was like, well, if I get COVID, I'm probably healthy enough that I'm gonna survive it.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, so the rules were when you went in that house, like you had to test negative from COVID.
Yeah.
So some people it took back then
Sure.
with
It
those
took me
tests
forever.
21 days. I tested positive. When I ended up with COVID during that time, I tested positive. I couldn't even come to work for 17 days.
Oh, damn.
I felt fine after 3 days.
Did Cindy do your COVID test?
The one shove it up my nose? No, had somebody else do it. I think
She
my
did
sister.
mine, and I'm pretty sure
She took a piece of your brain, right?
She went for grade.
Damn.
She was leaving nothing to
Like-
chance.
It's seriously crazy. Like I was back in WWE at that time, and training to go back on the road, and the way that they had us do it was so wild. We had to be in our car, and go into like a parking structure, so everybody was like single file in their cars, and then you'd roll down the window, and then medical would scrape your brain, and then
Yep.
and then you'd be about your business. It was like the wildest time, but then eventually that only happened one time, and then everybody was like just like a little spin of
The little
it was
twirl.
like, a little twirl.
Yeah, you actually
So
didn't
have
need to
do
stick
all
it up in
that.
your
Yeah,
brain.
No.
pull out a piece of the frontal lobe
Seriously,
there.
it's like I'm trying to hold on.
Where
to
were
as much
you, Shane?
brain
Because like I
capacity.
was
I was
like,
at home, bro.
bitch.
I just stayed home. I worked from home. It was like a 2 years vacation. It was fucking really fun. I had a blast.
was it?
Yeah.
What were
we
you
we were
doing?
doing pretty good. We had veterans. Yeah, man. Things were good. Yeah.
I mean, COVID wasn't that bad.
No.
Like, financially it did.
Everyone
it didn't
I
hit
know
us. and
excelled.
we were full.
Everyone I know excelled. Everybody I know excelled. I don't know
'cause-
anyone that faltered with COVID.
Well, what about people that owned restaurants? They fall.
Yeah, they
faltered,
did.
Like a
I don't
mofo.
know anybody that own restaurants.
But other portions of the country
Right.
closed their facilities. So
Yeah,
That's sad.
that's probably what.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna do that.
Was-
Like I literally wasn't gonna do that. I would have gone against the government rules. They would have had to come in here and physically taken me out and shut me down.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that I'm not gonna help people get sober.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers are gonna die.
Especially
I'm a
now.
motherfucker. They're gonna die out there. Like
Yeah.
if we don't, fentanyl was real in 2020
And super getting ready to
and
roll.
way more
Yeah.
dangerous than COVID.
Oh yeah. COVID was
So,
cold.
huh?
COVID was cold.
It's interesting that you mentioned fentanyl because two people while I was here had overdosed on fentanyl.
Yeah.
One of them ended up coming to live with me, and the other one ended up being my son's roommate.
Wow.
That was really, really hard because while I trusted this one, that one was the root of all evil, according to this one, and he's living with my son.
Yeah.
That was a challenge.
Yeah.
For sure. I want to just touch really quick on because we do believe that there's like many ways for individuals to stay sober.
Yep.
12 steps is definitely not the only one way be all way to do it, because you mentioned you did Frank's writing course in class, and is that how you have maintained, like, what do you do today for your sobriety on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, I think it's more of like a weekly basis
Sure.
at this point, and it's almost like another addiction that I have on Tuesday night. Everybody knows where I'm going to be, and it's not with them because it's going to be with you and you and you. I try to embrace my higher power, and that is on a daily basis. I have found that the Catholic Church, which I am a part of, doesn't have a complete grasp on my disease.
Sure.
And Shane, you might remember, because I think that I had said when I was at day 1000 that I had asked the bishop for a blessing, and the bishop said, you can go ahead and you can try the blood of Christ. Just take a little bit. And I was so angry because I thought, I don't need a blessing from you again. You don't get it, because if the blood of Christ to a meth addict, for example, was a little, just a half a dose, just try it and see how you do.
Yeah.
That meant he had completely no idea
Yeah.
about the
Right.
disease that afflicts so many of us. And when I go to church every week, I think, I know I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I don't know who else is in my tribe, but my church does not have a Celebrate Recovery.
Sure.
They recommended that I go to another church, and I
Interesting.
didn't like that answer.
Right.
So we're still in the process of probably getting that together. I've been also entertaining the thought of doing peer coaching, recovery coaching.
Sure.
However, my therapist said that she's had two people that were former or that were in recovery that went on to help in that capacity, and they both lost their sobriety because of it. I don't believe at this time I'm willing to put that on the table.
Right.
I just have to think about what keeps me on the up and up for right now. And how I also do that is I think of alcohol as poison. It is poison, and I will die if I drink it. I was a brat, and I used to drink good Polish vodka. And you know what? Since 2020, they've come out with some really awesome flavors that I will never get to sample.
Yeah.
But I remember they came out with one kind, and I said to my son, do you think that it would be acceptable if I dipped a Q-tip in it just so that I could taste it? He said, nope, you'd have to start over at day one if you did
Good
that.
for him.
My Polish exchange brother from 30 years ago was here last year, and he had a bottle of that on the table. And he said, would you like to see it? And I said, it's poison in a bottle. No, thanks. And he said, you're stronger than I thought. Darn right. Don't tempt me. don't push me. I'll throw that bottle.
Yeah. For sure.
What
some-
brand is it? Is it a Polish vodka?
Well, I used to drink Wyborowa, Luksusowa, and Sobieski. And this vodka is like a Polish pastry infused vodka.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, I liked vodka.
too.
I vodka was what I would drink
Yep.
when I drank. I'm the meth addict, big time. But good for you for not drinking the blood of Christ, because the blood of Christ can come in grape juice as well, can it?
Yeah. It can.
It surely can.
Says the
I always pass
Jewish
it.
guy.
I never take when on Sundays. I just walk past the.
I do too, and I'm amazed at how many people say, I saw you didn't go up for the wine.
Oh, really? I'm amazed by the opposite, where I've seen a lot of people like that pass it too. But then I've seen a lot of
I've
people that
noticed-
like chug it. where
I've
I'm like,
noticed that
damn,
too,
he's having
and-
a little bit of lot of blood of Christ.
I do know some people in recovery that got to a certain level in their recovery and didn't take the blood of Christ. Catholics.
I don't.
Um,
Every Sunday when I go, I don't.
a good friend of mine, two of them do. They are Franciscans, and they got to a point in their recovery
They take a
and their
little bit?
spiritual journey where they are able to, and it's never woken up. And I'm not saying, I don't recommend this for anybody. Everybody's got to,
Yeah.
at your own
thing.
risk,
Yeah.
just like Shane, at your own
Yep.
risk, because it could wake up.
Oh, it'll wake up a beast just because I'll let it.
It's like for
You know?
me, an Adderall,
that.
an Adderall will wake
Oh,
up.
for sure.
An Adderall, and
Yeah.
I am going to be
Yeah.
shooting meth, and that's 110%. I know that.
Yeah.
You have just validated me, and I will say why now. I work in the oil and gas industry, and I sell carbon dioxide, and I had somebody come in last week that bought some for their bar, and he said, we've got 40 beers on tap, blah, 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 blah. And I said,
right.
and I'm approaching 5 years of sobriety, so no thanks. And he said, I've got at least 5 NAs on tap. And I thought,
Oh.
I don't think so, sir.
Oh no.
I tried that, by the way. I tried to go to my sponsor and say,
I
"Hey."
can't. I can't.
Why?
Because that would lead me right back to beer, which will lead me right back to vodka. I'm not doing it.
It's the whole. There's a whole. I'm against that too. I mean,
I tried to do a whole
I talk
duels.
about it for
Your bro
myself.
duels.
Like, yeah, no duels. Like, fuck that. Like, really, fuck that.
I know,
Like,
I know.
Nobody's and people sit around and say, "Oh, well, I really miss having the Corona, the taste. It was the taste. It was the whole experience."
No.
But like, no, you don't. You like the way it made you feel.
Yep.
I can't stand beer.
Like, why in the
Never
fuck
enjoyed
are
it.
you gonna drink?
Anybody
no
that says have a
Duels?
beer with a
Totally.
steak, fuck, never. I've never had a beer with a
Wine.
steak.
I
Well,
can't
they're
do
wrong.
wine.
I've
because
never
it's
had
supposed to be
any kind
wine
of drink
with,
with
like,
my.
pairing.
I can't drink at a meal. It just doesn't go for me. I've never been a drinker. It's weird. Just never. It's just. I don't know.
Vodka.
Gin.
Ew.
Ooh.
Bourbon. Bourbon is good. Like
Tequila?
a really
Way too
tequila's
strong.
great.
Tequila's really good.
Tequila's
Gin is the
really
best
good.
though.
Oh man, this is not good. I'm romanticizing.
That's all right.
Father,
Please
Forgive me for I have sinned.
remove this from me.
Yeah.
There's nothing good that comes out of it. I know.
No, you're
I know what
amazing.
happens.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
You are.
I know what happens when I play the tape forward.
Yeah.
It's never been different. I'm a relapser. I'm not a one and done. I was not a one and done.
Oh.
And the results are
Well, the jury's still out on it.
Thank you,
I'm
Jennifer.
one and done, but
Thank you, Jennifer.
so far I
Hope
am.
Okay, so Hope by the Sea was
unicorn.
the first treatment facility that you went to, and the first time that you tried to really attempt to get sober as well.
Yes.
Wow, good for you. Keep with it.
all right.
Be
Let's
that
do a
one.
commercial now for Hope by the Sea. Hope by the Sea works.
It works if you work
I'm
it.
living proof.
Yeah,
All you
are.
need is 105 days of inpatient treatment with the step down process.
No, but you
Indeed.
were willing to do it yourself after the 25 days. On day 26, you decided, I'm going to try to hold on to whatever is here. And that's what it takes.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I see things in black and white.
Yeah.
And there's a whole world of gray between the black and white, but it's either
Madness.
on fire
Yep.
or it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
I want to see the gray, and I can't see it yet.
Yeah.
That's my struggle today.
I live in the gray.
I do too.
Just
I want to be like you.
the shades.
It took me a long time. I'm working towards 13 years now. But I mean, I stumbled. I should have like almost 20 years. But
But you understand about the gray area.
for
and
sure, now I do. But I used to want to either ride high or I'm trying to take a knife to my wrist. So it's one or the other. But now I don't want to be too high and I don't want to be too low. I want to be in the gray.
Well, Jennifer, this was an amazing
We're
hour.
going to see her again tonight for the thing. Isn't she coming Tuesday night?
I
Or no?
am.
Yes, she
Yeah.
is. But the people that are going to listen to this podcast
Right.
Tuesday night will have long passed.
True. True that. True that. All right.
We will
But
see
it's
you
another
later
testament
tonight.
of just like exactly why everything why this podcast was created, why doing the Recover Out Loud Tuesday night meetings, why sobriety, all the things that we do sets our soul on fire is because of individuals like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being willing enough to come in here, sit down, tell your story, walking through the door. Why I feel so blessed to have partnered with a company like the Infinity Group and Chad being the CEO is because of the kindness that he showed you when you were ready to walk out that door. That's what it's about.
It sure is.
And you're a testament of everything that is the beautiful side of sobriety because, you know, we hear a lot of the ugly side because it is. It's a disease that's ready to kill us.
It's cunning, baffling, powerful.
But you're the beautiful side. And I really appreciate you coming in today and sharing your story of experience, strength, and hope and all the things that go with that. So it's a testament of you allowing God to work in your life and just showing up. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Yay, all right. Picture time.